You ever walk out of a meeting and feel like your body left but your brain stayed in the room? You're already at your desk, already pretending you moved on, and still the same 10 seconds keeps replaying. That pause before they answered, that half smile you can't place, the way your idea got repeated by someone else and suddenly it worked. And you tell yourself you're just being sharp, being socially aware, being prepared. From what I've seen, that's the trap. The replay doesn't make you prepared, it just makes you louder in your own head. And if this is you, I'm not here to shame it. Most people who do this aren't weak, they're tuned in. They read rooms, they catch small shifts, they care about how they're perceived. That's not a character flaw, it's a skill that gets hijacked when things feel uncertain. If I'm being honest, the habit isn't overthinking. It's your nervous system trying to buy certainty with analysis. And it's a bad deal because you never feel done. You just feel temporarily busy. The cost shows up fast. You don't sleep as well, you draft texts you never send, you rehearse conversations you never have, and you walk into the next interaction already tense. Not because anything happened, because your brain kept building a story when there wasn't enough evidence. Here's the clean promise. By the end of this video, you'll know how to catch a social autopsy in real time, shut it down without gaslighting yourself, and use 2 short lines that work in workplaces and adult relationships. And in the next part, I'm going to give you the simplest reset question I know. The one that stops the replay from turning into a full movie. Because most advice skips the hard part. What to do when your mind already made the story feel real. Let's reframe what's happening without turning it into a personality defect. A social autopsy usually isn't about curiosity. It's about discomfort. You're not replaying because the moment was deep. You're replaying because it was unclear. And in adult life, especially at work, unclear often feels like threat. Not danger, danger. More like, did I just lose standing? Did I miss something? Am I about to look stupid later? Your brain treats that uncertainty like a problem to solve. So it does what it's good at. It looks for patterns. It replays tone. It runs scenarios. It tries to predict outcomes. The problem is replaying doesn't create new information. It just gives your imagination more screen time. You start with something small and factual. Someone replied late. Someone sounded flat. You weren't included on an email. And your brain turns that into meaning. Once the meaning shows up, your body reacts like it's confirmed. Tight chest, busy mind, that restless urge to figure it out. Yeah, it feels urgent. That's normal. Urgency is part of how the loop keeps going. From what I've seen, the real issue isn't that you're thinking. It's that you're thinking without a decision. You're stuck in interpretation, so your brain keeps spinning because there's no exit. Here's the reset question I promised. Simple, but not easy. What am I trying to get from this replay that I don't actually have? Most of the time, it's one of these: certainty, control, or permission. Permission to be mad, permission to confront, permission to protect yourself. And here's the trade-off nobody likes. You might never get certainty, but you can still choose a clean next move. So before you build a story, run 2 sanity checks. Just 2, not as a ritual, more like a mental break when you feel the spiral starting. Is this a one-off or a pattern? Is there a simpler explanation than the story I'm telling myself? Those questions don't tell you to ignore your instincts. They just stop you from treating one weird moment like a verdict. Because yes, sometimes your read is right. People can be passive-aggressive, teams can get political, friends can drift. But a lot of the time, the simplest explanation is boring. They were distracted, stressed, rushed, insecure, or they didn't realize the impact. In the next part, I'll show you what this habit looks like in 3 very normal situations, and exactly what to say in each, so you're not stuck choosing between silence and the messy confrontation. Here are 3 situations where this habit shows up looking reasonable. First, the message that lands weird. You send something normal. They reply with 2 words, or they don't reply at all. And suddenly, you're rereading your own message like it's a legal document. You're scanning for the one sentence that made them cold. You're watching the clock. You're filling the silence with meaning. If you're socially aware, silence is loud. That's why this one hooks people. The clean move is simple. Stop treating silence like proof. Use one neutral check-in, then stop feeding it. If it's personal, hey, did you see my last message? No rush, just checking. If it's work and you want it to sound clean, quick ping on this when you get a second. Want me to move forward? One line, no extra paragraphs. You're not begging, you're closing the loop. Second, the status moment at work. Someone else gets praised. Someone gets pulled into a meeting you weren't in. Your idea gets repeated by someone senior and suddenly it lands. But your name disappears. And your brain tries to do the math. What does that mean about me? Did I just drop in standing? Are they building something without me? From what I've seen, this is where people confuse jealousy with hate. Most of the time, it's not hate, it's orientation. Tell me where I stand so I can stop guessing. So don't chase reassurance. Ask for criteria. Try this. I want to keep growing here. What would strong performance look like in the next 60 days? That question is calm, it's professional, and it pulls you out of vibes and into something measurable. Third, the meeting tone you can't stop replaying. You pitch an idea and someone goes, or they say interesting in that tone that could mean support or dismissal. Or you catch a small joke aimed at you, soft enough that calling it out would make you look sensitive. So you leave and you run the tape. You rewrite your lines, you rehearse a comeback, you build a confrontation in your head that feels satisfying, and then you never do it. Here's the line to remember. If you can't act on it cleanly, don't chew on it endlessly. Instead of a big confrontation, use one clarifier that invites reality. Just to be clear, are we aligned on this or do you see a risk I'm missing? That's it, one sentence. Then you watch what happens next. If they're reasonable, you get information. If they're playing games, you'll see it in their behavior, not in your imagination. And notice what all three situations have in common. The loop keeps you stuck in interpretation. The exit is always a clean move. Clarify once, then act. Next, I'll give you a tiny 3-step protocol you can run in under a minute when the replay starts, plus 2 extra workplace safe lines for people who stay vague on purpose. When the replay starts, don't try to be strong. Give your brain a process. 3 steps. Fast. Step 1. State the facts in one sentence. Not what it meant, not what it felt like, just what happened. They responded late. They sounded flat. I wasn't included. They made a side comment. Facts shrink the movie. Step 2. Name what you're trying to get from the replay. Because a loop always wants something. Usually it's certainty, or control, or permission to be upset, to confront, to protect yourself. And you can have permission to feel something without building a whole case. Step 3. Pick one clean next move. 1, not 5, not a full strategy deck. One move that would still make sense even if your story's wrong. Most clean moves fall into 3 categories. You clarify, you set a boundary, or you disengage and move forward. Here are a couple lines you can keep in your pocket. Workplace clarifier when someone's being vague. Quick check, are we aligned on this direction or do you want me to adjust something? Clarifier when you're worried you're reading tone. Just making sure I'm tracking. Was that a concern or just a thought? Boundary when someone keeps dropping little digs. I'm happy to talk about the work. I'm not doing side comments. Disengage line when it's turning into a power game. Got it. I'll take that into account and move forward. Yes, these can feel stiff the first few times. That's normal. Neutral confidence is a learned language. 2 quick edge cases, because this is where people accidentally make it worse. 1, you ask, what did you mean by that, with someone who isn't safe. Some people don't clarify. They perform. They smirk. They make it about your sensitivity. They turn your question into a scene. So don't ask for meaning. Ask for next. Instead of, did you mean something by that? Use, okay, what would you like me to do differently next time?
It's hard to argue with that, and it keeps you in work mode, not emotional court. 2, you turn boundaries into speeches. You finally get fed up, and you explain your values and your communication style and how you deserve respect. And I get it, but long speeches usually become negotiations. Keep it short and repeatable. I'm not available for that tone. Or, we can keep this professional. Then stop talking. Here's the trade-off. You might feel rude at first. They might not like it. But you'll stop resenting yourself later, which is the real cost you've been paying. Next, I want to hit the 3 mistakes that keep the autopsy habit alive: over-explaining, chasing approval, and confronting at the worst moment, and how to fix each without turning into someone cold.
Let's hit the 3 mistakes that keep this habit alive, even when you swear you're just being mature. First, over-explaining. You sense tension and you try to buy safety with a paragraph. You add context. You soften every sentence. You apologize for things nobody asked you to apologize for. In your head, it sounds reasonable. In real life, it often reads as uncertain. Fix, say the point once, then stop. Happy to clarify, here's what I meant. That's the whole thing. One sentence, then silence. Let them respond. Second, chasing approval disguised as repair. You replay a moment and you don't actually get clarity, so you go into cleanup mode. You send another message to smooth it over. You add a joke. You offer extra help. You try to get the warmth back. From what I've seen, this is where overthinking turns into self-abandonment. You start managing their mood so you don't have to sit with uncertainty. Fix, don't chase warmth, choose alignment. All good on my end, just wanted to make sure we're aligned. That line is calm on purpose. Calm is how you stop feeding the loop. Third, confronting at the worst moment. You autopsy for days, the story in your head becomes a full movie, and then you bring it up when you're activated, late at night, over text, or right after a meeting when you're still hot. Then the conversation isn't about what happened, it's about your delivery. Fix, put it on a cleaner clock. Can we talk about something from earlier tomorrow? I want to handle it well. That sentence protects you from turning one uncomfortable moment into a messy conflict. And here's the bigger truth behind all 3 mistakes. When you're anxious, you'll reach for more words. More words feel like control, but clean communication is usually less. You might disappoint someone by not over-explaining. You might feel exposed by being direct. You might not get instant reassurance, but you'll stop paying the hidden tax, resentment, mental noise, and rehearsed conversations that never happen. In the last part, I'll wrap this into a short recap you can actually remember when you're spiraling, and I'll give you a 2-minute try this today move that trains your brain to exit the loop with action instead of analysis. All right, here's the recap I'd want when my brain is buzzing and I need something simple. You're not too sensitive. You're responding to uncertainty. A social autopsy feels like clarity, but it's usually just a loop. State the facts, name what you're trying to get, then choose one clean move. Clarify once, set a short boundary, or disengage and move forward. And remember this, if you can't act on it cleanly, don't chew on it endlessly. Now a concrete try this today. 2 minutes. Next time you catch yourself replaying a moment, open your notes app and write 2 lines. What I know is blank. My next clean move is blank. Then do the move. One message, one sentence, or one decision to give it space. You're training your brain that the exit is action, not more analysis. If you want 2 lines to keep on hand, make it these. At work, quick check. Are we aligned or do you want me to adjust something? In relationships, hey, you've felt a little distant lately. Everything okay between us? You'll feel a little exposed the first few times you say them. That doesn't mean they're wrong. It means you're finally being direct. And here's a trade-off nobody advertises. Some people preferred the old version of you, the one who stayed quiet, spiraled privately, then showed up resentful. The people worth keeping, they'll respect the clarity. From what I've seen, peace isn't not caring. Peace is caring and refusing to live inside guesses. Close the case when the evidence is thin. Protect your energy like it's part of your job.
Clarity isn't cold, it's clean.